Hi, this is Bob Grant. Let's go into some questions. Lilac says, if he is withdrawing communication with me because he feels he did me wrong, he is trying to find a way to confess to me what he did and how he feels about it, and trying to tell me how he really feels about me, but he can't find the words and the courage for that. He is stuck in his head and trying to find a way to come back. I give him several opportunities. I've given him to meet and talk, but he is too scared I will react and reject him. My question is, should I just move on and forget the special bond and magical connection between us, or should I give him time and wait for him to find the words and courage to come back? So I think when you're reading, when you're saying the first thing is, should I just move on and forget the special bond and magical connection? I think just the way you phrase that, most likely is part of you doesn't want to. If you just said, should I move on? That would sound a little more detached to me. And so I'm saying that because I don't know that that's really what you want to do. So I don't think there's any harm in waiting, because I understand he's scared. And that's normal. That's funny you asked this question with what we talked about today. It's normal to be scared, and I don't know what it is that's scary. It may be something, I don't know if you've reacted like loud in the past, I'm just guessing, or you put him down, or maybe someone else did it. I mean, he's reacting to something. And so this is the only thing with Facebook is it's kind of broad. I normally want a lot more details, but if it's just what I'm reading, if it's just this, and it just feels like, the words aren't there, or you're just missing each other, I might send a text that simply says, you can ask. Because when you hear that, most likely you're like, ask what? It's called an open-ended question. We're not trying to take his hand. We're not trying to make everything better. We're not trying to, take all his fears away. But if he somehow does need just a hint, the door's open, the door's cracked, or something like that, I would say something like that. It's kind of light, it's kind of playful, and it doesn't fix everything, but what it does is it gives him an opportunity to come towards you. And it's not pitiful, it's not condescending. So I would do that, because it sounds like part of you wants to wait. Because the problem I've had is that if I or someone tells someone you need to move on, unless there's physical violence or maybe some legal reason you need to, if we tell you to move on, we're not the one that has to live with that. We don't have to live with that decision. In 6 months, a year, none of us are going to remember it, but you'll still be living with it. So instead of me or anyone telling someone to move on, unless it's like critical, I like the person to make that choice. And when I tell them, I say, this is your decision. You're the one that lives with this. Friends and me and anyone else can give you some advice, or we can give you a suggestion, but we don't have to live with it. You do. So I always ask someone, if you're not sure, I say, wait and gather more information. Because if it's something that's not going to work out, waiting I don't consider that a waste of time, because what you'll gain from that with the frustration or the irritation is you'll have a decision that you can live with the rest of your life. So hopefully that helps. Kim says, about a month ago, I broke up with my boyfriend. We have been dating just over a year. He often tells me how much he loves me, cares about me, and how I'm his forever. And yet I've seen no progress in our relationship. I first broke up with him in August and blocked his number. When I did finally reach out, he said he'd do whatever he had to do as long as he was with me, including file for divorce. So I'm assuming that means he's still married. He asked if I'd find an attorney since he's always on the road. Don't like that at all. I did just that and passed along the contact information. Nothing happened. I didn't inquire for 2 weeks. When I finally did, he deflected. It was back to the same old thing, and how it was just a piece of paper, and how he is already divorced. Don't like that either. I know he'll reach out again. Any true chance with him, or was I merely being strung along? Any advice? So there's a lot here, probably more than I can do here. Dating someone that's married, I understand they're separated. I understand the plan is to get divorced. Just from an ethical standpoint, let's just pretend his wife is watching this now at the same time, and whether she knows you or not, she's not going to want me or anyone telling you or another woman how to help her husband get divorced. Hopefully you can see the sort of ethical conflict. The other thing is, when he asks you to get an attorney, see, there's all kinds of divorces, all kinds of things people go through, but when someone gets a divorce, an attorney is something that's usually very subjective in the sense of who they like. Someone may say, pick up my dry cleaning. Someone might say, take my car to get washed, because they don't care about specialized attention. When it comes to divorce or anything life-altering like that, where the attorney's involved, if someone doesn't want to pick out their attorney, I'm guessing, my concern would be, I don't think they really are going to use one. I don't know of anyone that's ever picked out an attorney because someone else picked it out for them. Unless it's some small trivial like trademark, or that's small, or just something that any attorney could do in their sleep. That's sort of a standardized thing, not something that's in any way I think it's called litigious, or it's aggressive or competitive, where there's winners and losers, where you're really debating and you're negotiating for money, property, time with the children. I mean, all those things that matter a lot to people. So I don't know what's in his heart. I'll say that. I don't know if you're being strung along. I do know that if he's not divorced, I would caution you to please slow this down. And it's, again, not just because he's married, but I've also seen this. Someone gets separated and they're starting to date. The woman dates him. Everything seems to go well. The marriage has been horrible for years. He's emotionally moved on, he says, and then all of a sudden the divorce happens. And within the first few weeks, he changes. It doesn't happen every time, but it happens most of the time, at least with what I hear. And the big part about that is the reality hits the man. Yes, he's wanted the divorce. He's wanted it, can't wait to get done. And then it happens. And now he's actually free. And see, the way before he was dating her, there was this divorce coming up, and that put a buffer. Because he's still legally married, the relationship can only progress so far. And that buffer's there, whether people want to admit it or not. Whether someone says just a piece of paper, not a piece of paper, it's not just a piece of paper. A piece of paper is a napkin. A piece of paper is something I scribble on notes and then throw it away and put in the fire. It's not just a piece of paper. A contract is not just a piece of paper. And men understand this too. A contract, you are obligated with that. A contract, you are in the service of that contract. It's a big deal. Men know this. That's why men are cautious about marriage, because they know the rights and the power that gives a wife. I mean, vice versa. And men are very careful about sharing power. So I don't know that I would rescue or help him. I don't know if you have to be the one that motivates. My concern is you're always going to have to motivate, because and of all the things, just pragmatically, if he won't get his own attorney, I'm just nervous about how much he really wants to get divorced. And I don't know the reasons. I don't know about y'all's relationships. I wish I had something simpler and easier to tell you. But just from what you're saying, I'm sure he has wonderful qualities, but some of the stuff you're saying makes me nervous. All right, so that's our end for today. And thank you for joining us again. Again, visit us on relationshipheadquarters.com. If you like this, be sure and click it. If you want to view us on YouTube, you can stay there also. So thanks again. I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye-bye.